A big question these days is whether the price will go up from this point or it will have a correction and maybe the retest of the previous low or even the newer low. And although on my channel I showed you many different aspects, especially from technical analysis point of view, that it's very likely that we will go up from that point, today I would like to show you one more indication of that, and we'll look at the situation from the angle which may be not exactly obvious. So what you see here is two indicators, and you may notice two red dots on one of them and three black dots on the second one. Moreover, as soon as those are histograms, you will see that from February 2018 those histograms were negative, and only recently they turned to be positive. So what does it mean? First indicator is TTM Squeeze, and TTM Squeeze is obtained from the ratio between the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. So you're probably familiar with the Bollinger Bands, and Keltner channels is the volatility indicator which is obtained from the exponential moving average, and also the upper and lower bands are calculated from the exponential moving average and the twice of average true range value. An average true range value also measures volatility, and basically for the certain point of the chart it calculates by finding the greatest value from either current high less the current low, or the absolute value of the current high less the previous close, and the absolute value of the current low less the previous close. So basically this is the formula right here, so max of one of those values, and then you have usually the averaging it over the certain number of periods, like 14 for example. So taking this value and multiplied by 2, adding to exponential moving average, and then EMA minus this one, you will have these channels, Keltner channels. Okay, so then when you will compare Keltner channels with the Bollinger Bands, you will see that sometimes Bollinger Bands going inside Keltner channels. Usually it's vice versa, but very rarely it's like that. And basically it means that the volatility is very low at that point, so the huge change in the price one way or another is expected. So when this is happening, we can see the signal on the TTM Squeeze indicator, like those red dots, and then eventually the next bar, the next candle, gives you the positive or negative delta between the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels, which serves as the pointer towards the following direction of the price. So if the TTM Squeeze is negative, then the following move of the price will be to the downside, which basically happened, for example, in November 2018. So you of course can find more examples on the daily time frame, when you have, for example, here this was the red point here and we went from the negative to positive, so the first was positive after the signaling red dot, and we actually went higher and even eventually went even higher than that. Now let's remove the channels and the bands and add one more indicator, which is squeeze momentum. And the difference between squeeze momentum and the TTM Squeeze is that they actually introduce some coefficient to correct this delta, and then in this way you may see the additional signals appearing which are actually happening earlier, usually earlier than the signals on the TTM Squeeze. So on the weekly time frame, and you can find it, for example, in this case you see there is no signal on TTM Squeeze, but there is indication of the reversal on the squeeze momentum indicator, and so on and so forth. And now when we'll switch to the weekly time frame, you will see that actually this squeeze momentum indicator had this signaling point 1 week before the surge in the price. But still, of course, we cannot fully rely on only this indicator. We need to look at the other factors, and one of the strong supportive signals to the one which is given by the indicator is, for example, the bullish flag or the bearish flag formation, which we can observe right now, especially when it happens after the relatively long period with a low volatility. So we have this strong indication on the weekly time frame, and again, if you will switch to the daily time frame, there is actually no signal of the reversal from the positive to negative yet. So all the circles here are gray, and although we have some decline of this histogram closer to the zero line, still it could happen that it actually will return to be positive once again. So Saying all that, guys, of course, it's just my personal opinion, not a financial advice, and moreover, those are just numbers, but you know, statistically they work pretty well and they have some fundamental reasons of like why they are working, okay? So, and finally, I was going to show you the trend on the Bitcoin shorts. So you may remember that we were looking at this trend line on the shorts starting from February 2018, when we had this trend line, and then finally a year later the number of shorts went below that line, and we actually used this line as the resistance after that, and we tested once, almost second time, and just very recently we tested once again. So if you would believe that this trend is now very strong because of the overall market reversal, then you may expect that the price will not go above this line. And actually this was the point of the maximum number of shorts, and usually when the shorts are very high, it is the time for the price going higher to make those shorts to be liquidated, so the huge players could get some liquidity on the market. And this is another signal for the price potentially having more chance to going up than down. So we'll see how everything will evolve eventually, but anyway, I still remain more bullish than bearish at that point. Must say that from tomorrow I will be in a trip to Phoenix, Arizona. So by the way, if any one of you is around there, give me a shout. We can have a beer and talk about crypto. And basically it means that for the next week my videos may be not that regular as usual, so I apologize for that. But if something will happen which is really important, something urgent, I will definitely upload or at least make some updates on the Telegram channel. And that is it for today. I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching.